Ghost in Berlin.
Chapter 4. The Quiet Between Storms. The train rattled north through a snow-choked countryside, its iron wheels singing a steady rhythm that felt almost like a heartbeat. Elias sat hunched in the corner of the third-class carriage, his cap low, his face half hidden in the dim morning light. Across from him, Clara stared out the shattered window, her reflection pale and ghost-like against the frost-streaked glass. They hadn't spoken since leaving Berlin, not because there was nothing to say, but because every other passenger in the carriage was listening. A soldier 3 seats down glanced their way occasionally, his rifle propped between his knees. A woman clutched a child close, her eyes wary. A railway clerk dozed against the window, his uniform cap tipped forward, but Elias knew better than to trust a sleeping man on a train full of fear. Every movement, every whisper mattered now. At last, Clara broke the silence, her voice barely audible over the clatter of the tracks. "You shot at Anton Kramer." Elias's eyes flicked up to meet hers, and missed. "On purpose?" He didn't answer, not directly. Kramer's too valuable alive. He controls the smuggling networks from Berlin to the Spanish border. Every passport, every shipment of stolen weapons. He has his fingers in everything. Clara turned from the window. "You could have ended him." Elias a slow breath. "I need him breathing. I just don't need him happy." For a long moment, they watched each other in silence. Clara's gaze was sharp, probing. She wasn't just a courier or a nightclub singer. He'd always known that. She had the steel of a resistance leader, the patience of someone who'd buried too many friends. "You think he'll come after us?" she asked finally. "I'd bet my life on it." Clara gave a soft, humorless laugh. "You already did." The train slowed for a stop at a small, snowbound station. A handful of passengers disembarked, boots crunching on the icy platform. No Gestapo, no military patrols. Yet. Elias's hand rested lightly on the pistol under his coat as his eyes scanned every face outside. The countryside might have seemed quiet, but he'd learned long ago that rural Germany was just as dangerous as Berlin. Farmers and villagers who owed loyalty to the Reich or simply feared it too much to ignore a stranger. When the train jerked forward again, Clara leaned back in her seat, arms crossed. "You've been doing this too long," she murmured. Elias glanced at her. "Doing what?" "Looking at every person like they might kill you." He gave her a grim smile. "They might." "Maybe." She studied him for a moment, her expression unreadable. "But you look like you're not sure if you'd even care." That stung more than he'd expected. Elias turned his gaze back to the window, watching frost-covered fields slide past. "Caring gets you killed in this business," he said quietly. "Or keeps you human," Clara countered softly. He didn't respond. Instead, he reached into his coat and withdrew the matchbox with the single word written inside. Lisbon. He turned it over in his fingers, weighing it like a coin. "This came from one of your people?" he asked. Clara shook her head. "Not mine. Not anyone I trust." "Then who?" "That's what worries me." Her voice was low, but her eyes were sharp, calculating. The word Lisbon had become a riddle, one that could save them or doom them both. Whoever left that message had access, reach, and an agenda neither of them understood. "Could be British intelligence," Clara suggested. Elias gave a bitter laugh. Or German intelligence pretending to be British, or Kramer playing his own game, or Moscow for that matter. He leaned closer, his voice barely audible. "Lisbon's a spider's nest. Smugglers, spies, diplomats, assassins. I've seen men vanish there without a trace." Clara met his gaze steadily. Then why go? Because if I don't, Elias said, Berlin won't be the only city burning. Hours passed in uneasy silence. The train rattled through forests and open plains, each mile taking them farther from Berlin, but deeper into danger. Elias dozed lightly, his pistol always within reach. When he awoke, Clara was watching him. Not suspiciously, not warmly, just watching, as if studying a man she couldn't decide whether to trust. "You've killed before," she said quietly. It wasn't a question. Elias rubbed a hand over his jaw, feeling the rough stubble there. "So have you." Clara didn't deny it. He studied her in turn, noticing things he'd missed before. The faint scar along her collarbone, the way her hands were steady even after last night's firefight. Clara Weiss wasn't just a courier. She was a fighter, forged in fire. "How long have you been in the resistance?" he asked. "Since 1939, she said, her tone matter-of-fact. "My father owned a bookshop. They arrested him for distributing banned books. He died in Sachsenhausen." Her voice stayed even, but her eyes burned. "After that, I stopped delivering books and started delivering bombs." Elias nodded slowly. "I'm sorry." She tilted her head. "You don't sound sorry." "I'm tired of being sorry," he said softly. Clara studied him for a moment, then gave a bitter smile. "Good. You'll live longer." As night fell, the train neared Hamburg. Smoke from the port city's chimneys rose into the winter sky, mingling with the faint smell of the sea. Elias adjusted his coat and cap. "Once we get there, we split up," he said. "I'll make contact with a smuggler I trust. He'll get me papers for Lisbon." Clara's expression hardened. "And me?" "You go back to Berlin. Keep your head down. The resistance needs you." She gave him a sharp look. "You expect me to walk back into Berlin after last night?" "Yes," Elias said, "because I expect you to survive." Clara's lips parted as if to argue, but the train's brakes screeched, cutting her off. The carriage jolted violently, sending passengers lurching forward. Elias tensed instantly. That wasn't a normal stop. A sharp whistle sounded outside. Then came the voice over a loudspeaker. "Alle Passagiere bleiben sitzen. Kontrolle." All passengers remain seated. Inspection. Elias's hand found his pistol beneath his coat. Clara's knuckles tightened on the map in her lap. They exchanged a single look. The Gestapo had found them. Thanks for listening to The Ghost in Berlin. If you're enjoying the story so far and would like to read the full ebook, you can find it now, available in PDF and EPUB, via the link in the show notes.